Your Humanities Half-hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Hapaday Tiro, and welcome to Your Humanities Half-hour. I'm Catherine Perry. Well, today we're talking pets. Dogs, cats, fish, birds. If you have a pet, and if you don't have a pet, this chat today is for you. It's my pleasure to have in our studio today the director of Saipan Cares for Animals, Beth Plisco. Beth, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
And I do want to say at this time, we're actually pre-taping the show today. And at this very moment, there is a Senate hearing going on the animal protection bill. So it's very timely to have you here, Beth. Tell us, what is Saipan Cares for Animals?
We're a nonprofit rescue clinic. We take in animals that are injured or hurt, sick, diseased, or babies that have lost their mother that need bottle feeding, that kind of thing. And we rehabilitate and offer them for adoption after they're spayed and neutered and vaccinated. We also have a community clinic that's open to the public to come get very low-cost vaccinations or even emergency care.
And in fact, you just had that program last week.
Mm-hmm. Yes, about once a month we get visiting volunteer veterinarians that come for spay and neuter. And we invite the public to come and get their dog or cat spayed and neutered, so no breeding.
Well, in the second half of our show, we want to talk a little bit more about the services that you provide there. But let's talk first about the heart and soul of your work. How is it and why is it that you started Saipan Cares for Animals?
Well, I started Saipan Cares for Animals with some other people that were really wanted to change the overpopulation problem of dogs and cats on Saipan. We didn't want to see dogs and cats wandering around that were diseased, getting hit by cars, struggling to survive. It's just an ugly thing to see every single day. So that was our goal, and so we started trying to rescue these animals, get them better, and get them adopted out. And then we also had Humane Society International come to Saipan 5 years ago, and that's who trained me to do the things that I do in the clinic and with the animals.
Do you feel that dogs and cats have feelings, and why is it important that we do this for them?
Yes, they definitely do have feelings. They bond with their owners. They're lonely when you're gone. They miss you. They're excited when you come home. They're happy. So they definitely have feelings. And they can be quite smart and intuitive about your feelings, too. They care for you as well.
Do you have any pets?
Yes.
Tell us about them.
Too many. Well, most of my pets are ones that are not adoptable for one reason or another. Blind cat, things like that. Three-legged cat, dogs that for one reason or another wouldn't be good for the average family.
I love to watch those stories on YouTube when somebody goes into the shelter and they're like, I want to adopt the most unadoptable dog. Or they have space for 4 or 5. So they're like, give me the dogs that are not going to get adopted.
I don't think that ever
cats.
happens. That doesn't happen at Saipan Cares. Unfortunately, everyone wants the tiny little 6-week-old puppy or the itty-bitty little kitten. And sometimes they think that that's what you have to do to get an animal to bond with you, and it couldn't be further from the truth. When you rescue a dog and a cat that has had a very hard time, that has really struggled, they know you're rescuing, and they really bond to you. My best dog that I have is 6 years old when I adopted her, and she is glued to my side.
What was her story?
She's a black lab that was used for breeding year after year after year. And when they were done with her and she looked horrible, they surrendered her to the Mare Shelter, and I got her after that.
What are some of the ways that dogs and cats communicate with us? I have 2 dogs, and I don't know what it was, and I love animals. But for some reason, a couple years ago, I decided to really listen to them. and really try to not just communicate what I wanted them to do, like sit, get out or whatever, come, I love you, but to listen to what they might be saying to me. And wow, I was really amazed. Aside from just like I love you, but I'll ask them. They'll come up to me and look at me intently in the eyes, and then I can now identify their look when they're hungry. And then if I say, "Do you want to be fed? Are you hungry?" and they'll do this like sound, which means yes. And their ears will perk up and. I'm just so surprised at how much they've been talking to me, and even me as a pet owner, I didn't notice.
Yeah, I can see how that would be. I think if you do listen to them, they will tell you what they need, definitely, and how much they care about you. Their animals are amazing, and they actually do give you unconditional love. And you take good care of them, they will really love and protect you. We often get people who come to our clinic looking to adopt a guard dog. They want a guard dog, and I always tell them that if you get a dog and you love it and you care for it, it will love and protect you, and that's how you get a good guard dog. It's a dog that will lay down its life for you. It loves you and your family because you love it.
How does that differ from teaching a dog to become vicious to protect you?
It doesn't really work because then it's a vicious, uncontrollable animal with you and your family. You need a dog that cares about you and will act appropriately, not just be, this loose cannon, vicious animal that you have. It's not a good thing.
I've heard some different thoughts on having a dog in the house versus outside the house. And people, of course, have their personal preferences. What is it that's happening in a dog's mind that might influence their behavior as far as whether they're kept only in the house or only outside or both?
I think both is best because animals have to go outside, obviously. But dogs see you especially as, they look at a family pack. And so if your dog can come in the house and be with you in the house, then they feel like you are part of their pack. And that makes them a really good pet. If they're just outside in the backyard, maybe with other dogs or by themselves, you're not going to have an animal that sees you as part of their family, their pack. So it's important, I think, that they come in and out, that they're close to you in the house and go outside as well.
What are some of the hygiene considerations a person needs to make if they're thinking of doing that?
Probably the number of animals you have makes a big difference. If you have one dog or one cat, it's not difficult to keep everything clean. I definitely have way too many, and it's a struggle every day to try to keep things clean. Cats do really well inside with a litter box. If you have one cat, it's not a big deal. If you have 5, it gets more difficult.
It becomes a part-time job.
Yes.
Are there any extraordinary stories from some local adoptions that we've had?
One of the most, not really an adoption, but a really wonderful thing happened one time in the clinic where an elderly man who's lived on Saipan his whole life came in with an older puppy that he was getting vaccinations for. And he told me, and it was really nice of him to let me know this, he told me that he's grown up on Saipan his whole life, and this is his first pet, his first dog as a pet. Aww. And he said that now that he could come to the clinic to get very low-cost care for his pet, and he was learning how to take care of the dog and what it needed to stay healthy, he told me he suddenly saw all the animals that needed help on Saipan. He never saw them before. He just said he just didn't see the homeless dogs trying to survive on the streets. And now suddenly he did, because he knew that he could do something, that it was possible to fix the problem. It's really, really great that you told me that.
Yeah, that is wonderful. We were talking about vicious dogs. I read a book one time, and I think the name of the book was There Are No Bad Dogs, Only Bad Owners. Mm-hmm. And it really changed my perspective. Whereas before, if a dog would come out and either bark at me or try to bite me, and actually I feel you can really tell whether a dog is just barking close to you or even growling close to you to get you out of their territory, or if they really want to bite you. Mm-hmm. And I used to get so frustrated at the dog at those dogs, but this book really opened my eyes to the fact that dogs get that way because of how they're treated, either by their owners or by other people. If they're treated with love, they become very loving and open and affectionate. Mm-hmm. And if they're made to feel fearful, then that's when they become vicious.
Yes. And so a dog that is chained all the time is going to be a vicious dog for sure. It changes their personality into one that is just really angry and frustrated and is not going to be a good dog. And it can ruin a dog, and it's not really fixable, if you rescue it at that point. And then also homeless dogs get into packs to try to survive. And we see that on Saipan, like the beach and places where people are really upset. Oh, there's vicious dogs. They're going to attack me. Well, they're trying to survive. They're trying to get food. They're trying to take care of their pack, and it's that's the overpopulation problem creates this problem.
After the well, not just after the typhoon, not just after Super Typhoon Yutu, but in general, there are a lot of human beings that need help also here, and some people feel that we should dedicate our time and our resources to people and not to animals, which absolutely we should donate our time and resources to people. And I feel people first. I'm not sure how you feel about that, but what would you say to people who feel that way? Like, hey, we have so many people in need here. Let's take care of them and let the animals take care of themselves.
Well, I think we don't have only a very small amount of love and care in ourselves. We have an unlimited amount. We can do both of those things. We can care for animals and we can care for people as well. One doesn't exclude the other. And also, I think it's our duty as individuals and as our community to take care of those that cannot help themselves, people in need, animals in need. It's part of being a good person and a good community that cares about their animals as well as their people. That's
a good point. I know we've talked about dogs pretty much for so far, but let's talk a little bit about cats. How are cats? Well, are the cat stereotypes correct? They're aloof, independent. In your vast experience, what do you say?
Yes, they're not pack animals. They usually don't like each other, cats. But I think cats do pretty well on Saipan. They can survive. The problem with cats, though, is the breeding, the overpopulation, because they can have 3 litters a year, and that's a lot of kitties they can make. And they come into heat very young, 5 months, and they can just make a whole lot of babies. And that's a problem. So spaying and neutering, keep that population down. They don't struggle as much as dogs to try to survive. They can hunt but they get hit by cars, all that kind of thing. And then sometimes people can be very cruel, especially to cats. I've seen some really horrible things. They're maybe annoying. They get into the garbage, and people take out their frustrations on cats and dogs.
Wow, so cats can have litters up to 3 times a year. All right, and this is why your spay and neuter program is so important. And when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about that and the other services that you provide.
Okay, sounds great.
We'll be back after this break.
Did you know that you can donate up to $5,000 to the Humanities Council through the CNMI Education Tax Credit Program? Donations from individuals and corporations qualify and can be used to offset your local wage and salary tax, BGRT, and earnings tax. Call our office at 235-4785 to see how you can support humanities programs in our community and obtain a tax credit for your donation. Sizu Usmaasi, Olomai, and thank you.
Welcome back to your Humanities Half Hour. We're talking with Beth Plisco, the director of Saipan Cares for Animals. Beth, what are some of the basic responsibilities somebody needs to think about if they want to be a pet owner?
Well, that they can provide a good home for it, shelter, give it food, dog food, cat food, and then see about getting its vaccinations and getting it spayed and neutered so it doesn't breed, so we don't have overpopulation.
Tell us about what kind of services Saipan Cares for Animals provides, and maybe some of the details about the costs or how it works.
Well, our clinic is only open a few hours each day because we do have so many animals that we're caring for all day long, 7 days a week. But in our clinic, we offer vaccinations, deworming, all those basic things that animals, cats and dogs both, need to be healthy. We also have offer emergency care. If your dog or cat is sick, you bring it in or call and see about getting help. We actually offer emergency services 24 hours a day, but we do our best to try and help. We have visiting volunteer veterinarians come and do spay and neuter, but they're also available to help with these emergencies and to advise myself and my staff on how to take care of problems.
And you actually get a lot of support, or some support from partners or donors, correct?
Well, we don't get any government funds, and so far yet we have not gotten any grants, but we are supported by Saipan. And it's kind of exciting that just the community of Saipan is supporting us, and it's working. The people that use the clinic pay for the services, but the prices are very, very low. We only charge what it costs us to replace those medicines, and the spay and neuter is very, very inexpensive because the volunteer veterinarians are donating their time completely, so you're just paying for the anesthesia and medicines that we use. Some businesses support us. When the veterinarians come to stay here to do the work, hotels give them rooms for free. They get free car rental. We try to allow them to have it, make it so it's a nice little vacation while they're volunteering their services. So, the people of Saipan are supporting us completely.
Oh, I love what you said about making it a vacation. I mean, there's pretty much anything a company could donate, any kind of service that would make it more enjoyable for them and make them want to come back or tell their friends about it and come back. And
yes, we get a lot of visiting vets that are divers.
Ah, nice.
So we set that up for them so they can go diving and hiking and fun things on their days that they're not helping us.
Walk us through some of the, medical services. For example, if you were to adopt a puppy, what could an owner expect from the time they're a puppy up until they're an adult through adulthood, as far as veterinary services or services to help keep the dog healthy?
Well, vaccinations are really important to protect against diseases that we have on Saipan. And then deworming is very important. We have heartworm. The mosquitoes here carry heartworm.
Now, are those like a one-time thing? You bring it in for vaccination and or a worming? Or is it like when you have a child and you have to
Yes, you do have to keep up with the vaccines.
Okay.
It's basically you have a puppy package in the beginning to get them vaccinated, and then once the 1 year booster, and after that every 3 years. But the really important thing that the pet owners need to do is to protect against heartworm, and that's monthly, and we sell heartworm medication. And to protect against ticks. The ticks here carry a deadly disease, and most dogs die of tick disease, Ehrlichia, here on Saipan. And we see it all day long.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've seen some dogs really infested with ticks, so that's not a good situation.
Well, yeah, and it only takes one tick. We see little house dogs that never go outside, get one tick and die. So it's very, very serious and very common. And we will be treating. I know we'll be treating this disease all day long at the clinic today.
Are there any recommended home remedies to help with ticks? Because I know a lot or mange. I don't want to repeat them, but I have heard discussion about different home remedies to help with mange in particular. I'm not sure about ticks.
There really isn't, because, well, in the tropics especially, everything is just really strong and stubborn. And so there's really only one tick medication, and we carry it, that works for ticks. Really only one. Frontline does not work here anymore.
Why is that?
I think that the bugs, they just get used to certain medicine, and then they're not effective. So we carry Bravecto, and that's the only thing that's working. So no, absolutely no home remedy for ticks. Some people say, I go to the beach and pick them off. Well, if you're picking a tick off your dog, it's already infected the blood. It's already in there. So, and then mange, it's so very inexpensive to get mange treatment at our clinic. It costs pennies, and it's very easy to fix. So I just wouldn't even mess around with home remedies. It costs more to get, some people say coconut oil. It would cost you more to get a jar of coconut oil than to come get mange treatment at our clinic.
Coconut oil is not cheap, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Unless you're making it for yourself, and then it's just an investment of time. Okay, so that's good to know. Getting back to what we were talking about, the relationship between animals and people, let's talk a little bit about service animals, because I don't think anybody can argue with the fact that there is obviously a bond and a mutual benefit between service animals and people. Mm-hmm. Would you say?
Yes. A long time ago, I did raise a service dog before it was trained to help a person in need. And what I learned as I was raising this service dog, because I had to go to classes to do this, is that basically dogs want to help people. They want your approval. They want your care, and that's what services. A good service dog is usually identified young, that it would be good at that because it's very strong in that aspect. That it wants to please you, it wants to care for you, it wants your approval.
Okay. What are some examples of service animals helping people?
Well, obviously people who have some kind of disability can use service dogs to help them, if they're blind or hearing dogs or that kind of thing. But I think for the average person, a dog especially can help you just emotionally. And even physically, it's been proven that it lowers your blood pressure. It helps keep you physically more healthy. So in that sense, they can be a service dog in that they help you emotionally. I know my dogs, especially one of my dogs I'm very close to, helps me be calm, centered. I can just look at her, pet her, and I feel good and balanced. So dogs help you definitely physically, the average person, physically and emotionally, mentally.
Do you think dogs have any kind of emotions like selfishness? I'm just thinking about this dog I had. He was rather selfish. He always wanted to be petted. And I guess I didn't know how to teach tricks at that time. So the only thing he knew how to do was shake paw. So he was always scratching me with his paw. So I would say he was a rather selfish dog. Mm-hmm. But I do remember one time I was distraught. And I was sitting in the yard and I was crying my eyes out. I think I was a teenager. And he came over and he just sat next to me. And he didn't ask me to shake his paw.
Aww.
And so, yeah, I'm curious, in your experience, what other kind of emotions do dogs have?
Like I was saying, they're a pack animal. And so they can be very competitive to be the dog closest to you. I'm your best dog.
Oh.
And so they will.
Yes.
They will. If you have a couple of dogs, each one of those dogs wants to be your best dog. And so they will worm in and try to separate the other dogs away from you, or paw, give you your paw over and over. They want to be recognized as, yes, you're my best dog. And it can be, if you have quite a few dogs, it can be bad in that they can be very competitive with each other to try to get your attention.
And do they see you as the leader of the pack?
Yes, they definitely do.
Because you feed them?
Because I'm caring for them, yes. And they need our care. Dogs especially cannot survive without people caring for them. They just can't. So yeah, I think that's what it is. They recognize the humans as the leader, and sometimes in a household they'll know which one is, whoever's feeding them and taking care of them. They will know that that's the person that's, in their minds, the leader of the house.
The one they're happiest to see when they come home.
Right.
Awesome. For people who are interested in helping Saipan Cares for Animals, or getting more information, or making an appointment for treatment for their pet, where can they get in touch with you?
Well, we have a Facebook page that's very popular, and you can message on that if you need help. You can also just call our numbers. Our landline is 488-2287, and the emergency number, the number that I answer 24 hours a day, is 285-5448, and you can reach us by phone is probably the best.
And what are some practical ways people can assist you?
Well, money, for one thing, so that we can take care of the animals that we have, that we're getting better and adopting out, and different services. Some of the hotels give us linens that we really need those. And then a lot of people and groups just bring food. They bring, we have a wish list in our clinic of things that we use all the time. Dog food, cat food, bleach, laundry soap, those kind of things we need. So a lot of people just come by and just drop off stuff they know we need.
How about volunteering? Do you have an opportunity for that?
Yes, we are run by volunteers. So, like I was saying, the clinic is only open 3 hours a day, but we are there from 8:30 to about 5:30 or 6, 7 days a week, caring for all the animals that we have, and we need help with that every day.
And it can, I had the opportunity, and I thank you for allowing me to bring my nieces one time, just for like an hour or two to help out. They love animals, especially cats, and they wanted to help, and it was very rewarding. And then we got to pet the animals, so it was really nice.
Yeah, and we also need people just to come and socialize with the animals, because our staff is so small.
True.
That if people would come and take one out of its kennel for a walk, really helps a lot. Sometimes we get puppies that are very, very shy, and they just need to be held and played with. Mm-hmm. They're not very adoptable if they're very shy. So that's a big help, too, just socializing.
Any closing thoughts before we go?
I guess the main thing that my concern is, as I was talking before, is the overpopulation, all the homeless animals we see on Saipan, and that can be fixed with spay and neuter. So that's why we offer the services that we do, is so that people can care for their animals and bring them in and get them spayed and neutered, so we can end the overpopulation, and we don't have to see these animals struggling to survive on the streets and the beaches.
Do you feel that with enough effort, we would be able to end it? Because I think a lot of people feel that, there will always be stray dogs. Do you think that if we agree and work together for every pet owner to spay and neuter their animal, that we could actually end the stray animal problem?
Absolutely. Saipan's very small. I think it's a completely fixable problem. I think a lot of people who have grown up here are used to seeing this, and so they don't think it could ever change. It absolutely can change completely. It could get to I see a future for Saipan where if you see a dog on the street, you think, oh, who lost their dog? That's what I would like to see.
Beth, I want to thank you so much for sharing with us a little bit about the connection between pets and animals and what you're doing there at Saipan Cares for Animals. And I hope our chat today will encourage others to become more involved.
Thank you. I do too. This has been really wonderful to be here and talk about this.
Our guest today has been Beth Plisco. She's the director of Saipan Cares for Animals, talking about animals, the way they love us, and how we should love them. Hope that you've enjoyed our show. If you'd like to hear more Your Humanities Half Hour, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can contact us on Facebook at 670 Humanities. This has been Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
This program was supported by a We the People grant awarded to the Northern Marianas Humanities Council from the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.